How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today we're going to be reviewing Dune Part 2. That's right, we finally got Dune Part 2 after a few years, including a couple of strikes that delayed the movie. It was supposed to come out in November of last year, but got delayed to March. But we finally got it, and it's directed by Denis Villeneuve and stars Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Josh Brolin, and Dave Bautista. And in this one, we continue from where we left off in Dune Part One, or the first Dune movie. It's not really called Part One, but we see Paul Atreides still having these visions, learning the ways of the Freeman, and we also see the Baron's psychotic younger nephew as well in this one. And when I first saw the first Dune movie, it blew me away. I thought it was a great science fiction movie. It was my introduction to Dune because I haven't completed the book. I'm still reading the book and I'm still where part one of the movie was, or the first movie was. So I haven't read what happens in part two because I know, like all novels, this is going to have its obvious differences from book and movie. I've experienced that with Harry Potter and the Hunger Games. But regardless of what differences happen, this is still an incredible movie, and this is definitely one of the best movies to come out in the last few years because this basically had what I feel like a lot of movies lack, and what the best movies that have come out in recent years have had. It reminds me of movies such as Oppenheimer or the recent Godzilla movie. And I'm not saying due to plot, but just having incredible cinematography, fantastic performances, and not dumbing things down for your audience. This is obviously a much more mature science fiction movie compared to Star Wars and Star Trek. And I still love Star Wars and Star Trek, but Dune definitely takes the science fiction in a much more mature direction compared to Star Wars. I mean, for those of you who don't know, these Dune books were written way before George Lucas filmed Star Wars. So for those of you who want to say, "Oh, this feels familiar to Star Wars," or they feel like there's certain themes that are similar to Star Wars, Dune did it first. I'm not saying George Lucas took from Frank Herbert, but he was definitely influenced from the Dune books. So even if you see those similarities in influence, you can also tell that this is definitely a lot different from Star Wars, especially with the tone, the cinematography, and the direction that character arcs go. Especially Paul Atreides' character arc, because you see at first that he doesn't want to embrace this prophecy. He just wants to get revenge on those that have wronged him, those that have killed his friends and his loved ones. But then over the course of the movie, he's seeing these visions, and he's trying to find ways to prevent these things from happening. And he's learning the ways of the Freeman, including riding on a sandworm. That's a minor spoiler alert. Sorry, I should have said there's going to be like minor spoilers, but there's not a lot of spoiler alerts. But he learns their ways, and you see him grow as a character. You also see the changes that his character goes with, as well as his relationship with Shani, played by Zendaya. And we get a lot more of Zendaya in this movie, and she is terrific in this movie as well. The chemistry between her and Timothy Chalamet works so well. The relationship with these characters works so well, and it develops very well because at first she doesn't buy into this prophecy, but she respects Paul Atreides, and you see that romance in that relationship developing. But you also see the hurdles that they go through, and where this relationship goes in. It's not going to go in the way that you probably expect it to because certain events happen in this movie. Rebecca Ferguson is still terrific as well as Paul Atreides' mother, Jessica, and she has her own character arc as well, becoming the Reverend Mother in this movie. She's also pregnant, so there's that story arc that's happening. The returning cast, for the most part, still does a great job. Dave Bautista really delivers a great performance in this movie. I've always considered Dave Bautista to be one of the better wrestlers turned actors in his performances, and he showcases it in this movie very well. As far as the newcomers go, Austin Butler is the best of the new members of the cast. He's playing the Baron's psychotic nephew, and the action sequences involving this character are incredible. I mean, the action's great in general, but his character is ruthless, one of the best on-screen villains I've seen in a while, and his fight sequences are incredible. The way he's just brutally taking down enemies, or tries to take them down, works so well. Christopher Walken as the Emperor, very good performance. I love seeing Christopher Walker in movies. Florence Pugh plays his daughter. She does a very good job as well. She provides narration in the movie at times as well. I wouldn't say there was a bad performance in this movie. That's another thing. I feel like everyone brought their A game in this movie. This is a big cast, and no one felt miscasted at all in this movie. Everyone played their role very well, similar to the first movie. The cinematography is incredible in this movie, especially in this one sequence. It's on the Baron's home planet, the Harkonnen planet, and it's all shown in black and white. The cinematography, and it looks incredible. You see like the fireworks going up, but they look different from how you would usually see fireworks in a movie. And all this is happening while Austin Butler's character, the Baron's ruthless nephew, is just taking down enemies. It looks so incredible. But yet, when they're inside a building, it goes back to color. It's just really good cinematography right there. Because when I'm watching these trailers, I always wondered why are like certain scenes in black and white. Are these like flashbacks or something? But then I see what they did in the movie, and it works so well. Um, the science fiction element of this movie is so incredible. I mean, obviously, for the majority of this movie, they are on this desert planet, eh, but even still, it doesn't take away from the science fiction element. It still handles that element very well. The sandworms look incredible as well. I know sandworms aren't real, but the way they make the sandworms look realistic plays off so well. The costume and makeup team as well. The way Austin Butler, Dave Batista, sorry if I mispronounced his name, Stellan Skarsgård look is incredible. The costume designs, costumes for the characters look very good as well. Uh, Visually, the special effects look great as well. Because we're at a point where we're seeing these movies with big budgets, but having mediocre visuals, even if the movie's good. But sometimes just having those iffy visuals is so distracting for a movie. Here, the visuals look amazing. Denis Villeneuve always has great visuals, especially like in his science fiction movies, because he's done science fiction before. He's done Dune and Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. So he's continuing to once again make visually stunning movies with great special effects. This movie's around 2 hours and 40 minutes long, but it never feels that way. That's what I like about. That's my favorite thing about the best long movies out there. You never feel the runtime, and I never felt the runtime with this movie. And it makes sense why this is a long movie because there's a lot of ground to cover. There's new characters that we're being introduced to. We're seeing the character development of Paul Atreides, like how he's going from wanting revenge to embracing this leadership role. His relationship with Shawnee, how that's developing, the character arc of Jessica and her daughter that has yet to be born. We're just seeing all this stuff just happening, and it works so well, and it's balanced out so well. And by the time this movie was over, I wanted to see more. I was ready for Dune Messiah right away, and I haven't even read that book yet. But I know Denis Villeneuve has been talking about that the last Dune movie he would do would be Dune Messiah, and I want to see it right away. It's probably going to take some time before that movie comes out. But yeah, overall with Dune Part 2, this was a satisfying movie. It's more than satisfying. It was a phenomenal movie. Had great performances, great action, great science fiction, great special effects, a great story. It balanced out so many different story arcs so well. And I've heard the concern that Dune fans had that Dune is difficult to adapt to film. But Denis Villeneuve, who in my opinion, is one of the best directors working right now. He was able to pull it off. And that's another reason why I'm excited for Doom Messiah without even reading that book, because to me, Denny just always hits it out of the park. And he once again hit it out of the park. I can't say for certain that this is my favorite movie that Denis Villeneuve has directed. My favorite personal one is still Arrival. That's the one that I've seen the most times out of his movies. This is definitely one of my favorite of Villeneuve's movies. I definitely prefer it over the first one, which was a great movie and a great setup for this movie. And it paid off big time. I'm going to give Dune Part 2 an A+. This is definitely one of the best movies to come out already in the 2020s. One of the best movies to come out probably in the last 10, 15 years in general. And it's great to see that sci-fi, despite some of the hurdles that certain science fiction franchises have had, that science fiction still can pull it off. And Denis Villeneuve and the crew pulled it off with this one. So, what are your thoughts on Dune Part 2? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what's your favorite Denis Villeneuve new movie? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, let me know, as a Dune fan, were you satisfied with this despite, possible differences between book and movie? And are you excited for Dune Messiah? You can also let me know in the comments down below about that. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already. If you haven't, please share us with someone that loves Dune. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.